talking back with another philosophy class. Today we're going to be diving into basketball. It may seem like I'm a bit of a grouch. Maybe it seems like I don't exactly appreciate the sport, or I don't know. It's hard, right? When you're asked if you have a favorite sport and you gotta come up with an answer and you gotta get a detailed answer, the most unfortunate thing rather, is when you're making something on a tier or a scale and you're putting something at the top, you think that perhaps you're doing like that one team, that one sport, whatever the case may be. You think you're putting that objective at the top, but what you're really doing is you're costing a lot of others. You're putting them lower, right? It's like when you win the Stanley Cup, there's one winner, 31 losers. When you put something at the top, you're doing it at the cost of something else. So that's why basketball always slides down to the bottom, because I'm very adamantly hockey first and foremost. I just think it's the greatest sport. I don't think it's the most popular or everyone loves it, but I think it's the greatest. And that's just my disposition, you know? Maybe if I was somebody else. I know plenty of people that love basketball. Basketball, the reason that I got into it is because of my friends, and I wanted to join in on that camaraderie. And I love playing it. Like, it's very much so different, but that is not what I do, okay? I'm a commentator, I'm a spectator, I'm a broadcaster. I critique this stuff, I explain it, I try to enlighten people and get people thinking about it in different ways than just the way that the media is force-feeding us to think a certain way. I mean, I can't say that I'm not part of the media. I mean, I'm not, but I want to be. I want to be in that position. So, without further ado, in case you think I don't like basketball, I'm going to list off a few things that I love about it that you can't really get from another sport. But yeah, basketball, usually when it comes to basketball, I suppose what I do and what a lot of people probably do is what we tend to think about is we think about what we don't like about something, because that can stick into our head. And I'm myself subject to this inertia as well, this way of thinking. And with that said, I will say that I do think basketball is an inferior sport, and I can say that because I am in a position where I can look at all the sports that I cover closely, and I'm not someone that only follows one sport. I'm not someone that just loves apples, but they've never tried oranges and bananas. There's no weight to your opinion if you think apples are the best. So I'm in a position where I can give a better subjective take because of the amount of the things that I follow, which is NFL, MLB, NHL, and NBA. So, yeah, with that said, I just think that it's the inferior sport. I try to stay in my lane, of course, like I mentioned. Philosophical within the confines of sports. That's the most important thing here, right? So, I'm not going to compare it with the different eras because I haven't been a part of different eras. I have watched basketball for the last few years, and I can't speak on behalf of the 2000s, the Duncan, the Shaq, the Kobe, the AI eras. Only the modern day, Jokic, Giannis, Curry era, right? I'm sure basketball was a lot better. That's the other thing. I'm not saying that basketball is bad, like in general. It was greater. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people that have been around, watched basketball for 20 years, they can say that, yeah, the Shaq, Kobe, Duncan, AI, that era was probably the best. 35 years ago, obviously, Jordan brought a lot of excitement to it. Magic and Larry, they probably named basketball an international sport and a American sensation. And then Jordan just emphasized that, magnified it, took it to another level, right? So I'm not judging the eras, I'm just judging 2023. What can I say about basketball right now? And that can definitely come into some critiques. I'm going to compare officiating and rules from hockey and basketball in another video. But for this one, we're going to just talk about what I really like about it. And I'm not going to just stick to the things that I traditionally do, which is just critique it because it's so easy, like I mentioned. And yeah, basically a lot of things have changed over the years. We can see differences in eras just by the officiating, the rules, the three-point line, how things, maybe they were more of a team game back in the 80s. And now it's a lot more ISO, a lot more individual achievements and accomplishments. You know, super teams, things like that. And just hucking up threes from half court. So starting there, I mean, I really do love the three-point shot. I love contested threes, deep ones, and off-balance threes. You know, half-court heaves when the shot clock is coming down to an end or the quarter is about to expire. But deep threes, there's got to be an asterisk, of course, to those kinds of things because a lot of the times, can you really find an excuse that can justify a three if it's not in those aforementioned circumstances? Like just starting the play, you've got the full shot clock and you just huck up a deep three. I feel like those kinds of things are inexcusable, but of course it's an amazing talent and that can definitely transcend into when you're playing the sport and when you're doing it with your friends on the court. You want to do that. You want to experience what that's like, right? Another thing that I love about basketball are dunks, posters, and one dunks, all that stuff. I feel like it's definitely rescinded a bit because of the and one and how sensitive everybody is. It's more so like if you're gonna dunk on somebody, back in the 80s and back in the 90s, you used to be able to get away with so much, and now the referees are way more sensitive. So that definitely takes it away, a lot of the excitement. But you also have to be responsible. You have to be, respectful to some degree. I mean, back when Jordan was dunking on people, he would trash talk them, and he wouldn't get the technical foul. And if it's not an and one, and you're not careful, then it just turns into a 1-point bucket. If you're gonna go down that path. So it's like, yes, it maybe should be rescinded upon a bit, but at the same time, I mean, just getting away with a little bit, and when we do see that happen, it's very enjoyable because it is. I mean, dunking on poster on somebody, that's just insane, right? Like, hard to really imagine that what it's like, Buzzer beaters, of course, just like I mentioned with the 3-point line, buzzer beaters. It's very similar to, I guess, with there being 1 or 2 seconds left in a football game, you get a snap off, you can run another play, you can kick a field goal. So that's along those lines. Like at the very last second you get a play, you can do something. And whoever invented lighting up the backboard and having the whole thing go red when the shot clock expires, that is just genius. That's really a great idea because it just amplifies the situation. It can turn into memory, it can turn into history when you look back at a photo and the backboard is lit up red. That just like adds to a photo giving more information than just someone explaining it all to you. You can see everything. You get a sense of what was going on, especially if you don't know much about whatever shot, If it was an amazing shot that mattered a lot, that counted, but it was 30 years ago, you can look back at that photo, see the red light all around the backboard. And, of course, the shot clock being down to 0, that helps as well. But it's really quite something. Just like Lillard's shot, in 2019. Kawhi's shot in 2019 as well. That red light just makes the whole experience a lot better. And the last thing I think that I can say that stands out from basketball is just the personality. Again, I'm not comparing this to other sports, but I do think that there's a lot of personality. Press conferences can a lot of the times be interesting. But sometimes, of course, this goes both ways, right? It's if you're allowing players with personality, you're allowing all kinds of extremes. I'm not too interested in what Kuzma's wearing his pregame walk-ins down the hallway. It's kind of funny that these guys, they spend so much time getting ready for what they're going to wear compared to how they're going to play. And it's all just for these random photographers. They don't know their names. They're just taking a photo of them walking from the parking lot to the locker room. It doesn't affect the game. And all it really does, it's just like if you actually break down and think about what it is and how inconsequential it is to the basketball game, it's just part of the culture. Of course, that's not just like the personality thing, but I do like players that have a little bit more to say, than just the basic fabricated answer in a press conference. That allows for a lot of opportunity for the personality to extend beyond just a fabricated answer. And it's nice because if they're interesting enough in their personality, their charisma, if they're loquacious enough, you're going to get a whole lot of extra entertainment value. So that's always a bonus. It's always a plus.